They've done it. They've actually done it. The stuff of dreams. Newcastle United, it's over. Do you know what? If you have not got a element of humanity in you if you cannot give Newcastle fans their credit today. I think every fan of any team that does not win major trophies has to be understanding that how powerful today was for Newcastle United fans. Newcastle United fans, get in the comments, talk to me. This is why I love doing what I do, being able to watch these games and then talk to you guys and then just get that feeling from you. Incredible stuff. Congratulations. And more than anything, wholeheartedly deserved. And you've played an exceptional team in Liverpool today. And you wanted it more. You were switched on more. 20 minutes into the game, I said to myself, I was talking to Kai, I was watching, I wasn't talking to myself. I went, every single player on that pitch was doing their job. But when you think of the stuff of dreams, Dan Burn, stand up. Wow. Absolutely astonishing stuff. We're going to break down the game. Newcastle fans, give us a like. Liverpool fans, you can give us a like as well. You're still going to win that Premier League trophy. You've had an amazing season. But there was something in the profiles of the players available today, and I think that made a massive difference. I also think the mindset of Newcastle and the preparation they had would have played a part in this. But ultimately, some days you just want it just that little bit too much. And I think that's what happened here today. Let's go through this game because there's so many examples of everything you want to see when it's a cup final. When you're playing in a cup final, you've got to go, it's a different mindset. You've got to take your normal footballing playing head off and you have to put on one that goes, no, I win my duels. I do my job. I'm switched on. I'm calm. I'm ready. And I think that was the massive difference here. This is a Newcastle team that was ready. This was about business and they got the job done and absolutely deserved it, by the way. Yeah, okay, look, and chuck possession out there, but look, we're all smart enough by this point to understand that it means so little if you don't have a game plan. You can't hurt the opposition. And Liverpool, I thought, really, really struggled here. I thought we saw a problem when it came to profiles. Let me explain what I mean. Because in terms of the two teams here, it was the perfect cup final performance from Newcastle. They played Trippier on the right-hand side here and Livramento, who we'll talk about, who was absolutely crucial. I thought the game was won in this half of the pitch for me. Although every single Newcastle player, let's go from all, Shaw, absolutely superb. Burn, what a hero on the day. He now goes into folklore. Livramento was outstanding, as was Joe Linton. And do you know what? The way that Eddie Howe got them playing together, it was a bit of a perfect storm in the sense that you had Harvey Barnes and Livramento was willing to bomb up and down. And in Salah, you had someone who wasn't going to follow him, so that meant someone else had to do it. And then the natural movements of Harvey Barnes to come to a more central position made it quite difficult for Kwanzaa. I thought Kwanzaa really struggled in this one. And not because he did anything really wrong. Obviously, he's a young, exciting player. But in terms of the profiles of right backs that you've got, if you've got Trent, you've got a player who, when he gets on the ball, can affect the game, and the opposition can run away from him and the defence will as well. And that means that when it moves back, if you don't, Salah's in behind, but if not, then there's all these lovely spaces for you to deal with and to affect the game. Someone like Szoboszlai can get on the ball. But in this game, it was very different because, and if you have Conor Bradley, you've got someone who can bomb on. Salah can step into these spaces here. And again, you're affecting the opposition. But in this game, I thought you had a Newcastle side that felt comfortable defending. One-on-one, Salah won that against Livramento. Livramento won it against Salah. So Szoboszlai could not get on the ball at all. And Kwanzaa just didn't affect it at all. So when he did get on the ball, he wasn't really doing much. Also, Joe Linton was outstanding defensively in this game. Honestly, those are big, big moments when you just say, no, I wrote it down, not today. It was a sort of a moment there, I think, with that Newcastle team. It was like, no, not enough. Let's get this done. And they were so switched on, but they stepped in it from a tactical point of view. It made a massive difference to have someone like Kwanzaa, who is just not going to affect the game, really. And defensively, as I say, that 5 that you saw, it just worked so hard. And they weren't able to get through. at all, Liverpool, in this game. I think they had a shot right at the end of the first half. They had barely any touches. And actually, let's have a look at the average positions from the game. Actually, let me show the average positions from half time, because I think it said a hell of a lot when I was looking at the game. Because here goes Newcastle. And I think what's really important to focus on here is Joe Linton. He was absolutely outstanding with the work that he did. But when it comes to Liverpool, a couple of things I thought were really, really glaring. One, Dominic Szoboszlai, right here, normally much higher up. The team's able to spread. That triangle of those three here are a lot more effective than they are. The rotations are there. You've got Trent who'll just step into a more central position. And again, having that quality and what he can offer in terms of, a pass over the top to Salah, it means that it's all far more effective. But Joe Linton was stopping them. The way that Newcastle were defending was stopping them as well. And Salah couldn't get a touch near the penalty box throughout the game. And that focus from Newcastle was down that left-hand side throughout the entirety of the game as well. You can see a lot more concentrated here. I'm actually colouring it in now, aren't I? But you get the point. Working in this area, can we do that? Was that going to work? No, it's not going to work either. You get the point. Right here. For God's sake, come on, we're excited. So how did it play out in the game itself? Well, whenever Kwanzaa got the ball, it was a really awkward one for Liverpool, because that was the pressing trigger really clearly, and you had Livramento who would go and get him, and then Harvey Barnes would play that little bit more narrower, both in possession and out possession, and the two of them dovetailed absolutely brilliantly throughout the game, and it meant that they were able to build up some momentum. Obviously the crowd are huge for the game as well, I'm sure, and when they did move up the pitch, again, on that right-hand side, and this isn't digging out Kwanzaa, it's just a profile thing. By him being here, all he would do was he would step up here and then he would run back. He would step up here and he would run back. And what that meant was that for Salah to even try and get involved, he just sort of ended up staying wide here, picking up the ball, it then coming back and circulating again. Whereas if you have someone like Trent on the ball in the exact same position, standing still, you've got runners, or he might come to feet. These two are a little bit nervous. He might bend and make a run, and you've got someone with that ability to play that pass. In Kwanzaa, you didn't have that. And Newcastle sort of called their bluff there, and it allowed them to build a really, really strong back line here of 5 throughout the game. But not just that, a team with intensity. And Livramento was able to deal with Salah really, really well throughout the game, because he knew where he was at all times. And this is another great example of it with Kwanzaa. Even when they did go to get at him, and he did do well to break through into this area, he was then all alone. And then once he got to this area, he didn't really know what to do with it. And so he kind of ran into a player. There wasn't that cohesion. He's not playing that pass out wide. And it's comfortable for Newcastle. And for Newcastle, constantly looking to get in behind whenever they could, because that double up of Livramento, who I thought was fantastic, and Harvey Barnes in the slightly more narrow area was absolutely crucial. But just as crucial as that, just as crucial as any pass that was played, it was the intensity of this Newcastle team. It really was one of those, not today, it's our turn. And this is a great example of it, because Joe Linton, this is the first of several moments. There's that long pass, Livramento's trying to get on, Kwanzaa wins the ball, and you think they might be in trouble here in terms of him getting the ball and driving. But Joe Linton sees the danger, and he saw the danger from midfield all the time. He went this way, he went that way. He clotheslined people at the end of the game. Should he have got sent off? Probably. But you can understand why he did it. Who was it? Chiellini did it in the past, and he'll forevermore be a villain now for Liverpool fans. But I don't think you can question the result here, because they were just outstanding. And this was just one of several moments where they were absolutely outstanding. Let's talk about the goal, because the goal was coming, wasn't it? And it was really interesting. Eddie Howe is renowned for how great he is at set pieces, and this preparation, it was there. And with someone like Dan Burn, I was thinking as the game was going on with these corners, I was like, just loft it up and leave it to Dan Burn, because in a game like this, he's going to go and win it. What was interesting was that he was left with poor McAllister throughout the game, who's just never going to do anything. So this, of course, is the goal itself. He scores this header from a really interesting position here. And what's also really crucial to talk about, no one has, is Trippier's delivery has this little bit, it's more like this. Actually, it's more like this one. Can we do that? It just has a little bit of swaz to take it away. And what I think they were trying to do was just keep the ball from Van Dijk and Konate and win the first contact. If you win the first contact, then we'll see what happens from there. And it was coming. If we have a look at it, we'll go back in time. 34 minutes, similar thing, beating McAllister in the air. This is on the 31st minute, and you can see Robertson knows something's not right here. McAllister, and then he peels away. This is that same one. Actually, the ball, they go and try and find it to him. And then this is another one. They were looking for Dan Burn throughout. 25 minutes, again, at the back stick. It was a very, very clear set piece that they worked into it as time went on when it came to those corners. And then, of course, the goal itself. It's honestly, like, forget tactics for a second. Like, this is the stuff of dreams. And you just wanted it. Any neutral wanted it for Dan Burn. You could tell he plays his heart on his sleeve. What a week for him to get that national call up and then to score a goal, which essentially was, well, kind of was, to score a goal in a cup final. Honestly, it just, you pinch yourself with stuff like that. But Newcastle deserved it. They worked so hard. Defensively, they were so strong. They kept Liverpool out of the centre of the pitch. They weren't really playing at the tempo that they needed to. And I think as much as it was down to Liverpool being a little bit jaded, and I think they have become jaded because they've just played so many games, it was also down to just quality from Newcastle. They wanted it that little bit more. But that double up on that left-hand side, it came to fruition. But the jadedness of it, I think there's an element of it here for this goal as well. Because if you think of this run, if you go back a little bit before that, actually it's one where Livramento makes a run. Salah doesn't run with him. Now, Liverpool fans will be used to that by this point. But from here, you've got 3. 1, 2, 3. Dealing with 1, 2. And they should be all right. But what's so lovely throughout the game was Harvey Barnes and Livramento and the overlapping runs from Livramento. He was absolutely outstanding in this game. And so when he plays the ball, I think Gravenberch is the one here who is generally tasked with dealing with those runners to make sure they're okay. But also Konate will sometimes make that run into it. But the two of them, Gravenberch left it to Konate. Konate left it to Gravenberch. And Livramento, with the tempo that this team played at, the energy that they played with, the runners that they were ready to get in there. Look at these guys. They're just a little bit off it. I haven't got that same... And it's not, it's not really desire. I don't think it's anything. I just think it was Newcastle's day. They wanted it that little bit more. So this pass, it's a 1 and it's a 2, and he carries on that run, which is crucial. Lofts the ball in, and he doesn't take too many touches. He gets that cross in, doesn't mess about, and it's really, really clever movement by Isak just to drop this way. He knows that header's coming this way instead of that way. Shows the cohesion of this team, and he gets himself the goal. 2-0, and it's, it's done, or it feels like it's done. Now, they kept going 10 minutes extra time. It was absolutely outrageous, but the energy, the desire of this team, we started with this one with Joelinton. I've got to talk about Joelinton for a second. He was absolutely outstanding. Time and again, we've already spoken about this one. Livramento's gone. Harvey Barnes is gone. He's got to come and clean up this mess. And he does. He does it brilliantly. He goes and wins it. But that wasn't the only time. There's a great time here, 46 minutes, coming back, tracking runners, solving it for the team, getting the job done, keeping the lead. And you can see, he sees that run from Luis Diaz. That's not his man. But he makes that run anyway because it matters. And so when he's celebrating, it does matter. It's crucial. 61 minutes. Joelinton covering the left back this time. It's phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. We move it on again. This is 61 and he makes that big tackle. Big old tackle. There we go. Joelinton, absolute cup final performance. That's the difference. That's what wins it. And Livramento, Salah in his pocket throughout the game. 1-on-1. Salah beats most players. Not Livramento. Not today. He is outstanding. And I think the intensity and the energy of this team is what's got it. It's a long journey, isn't it? But it's got them there. It really, really has got them there. It's got them over the line. And it's got them that trophy. And that... the one person you have to finish this video on is Eddie Howe. It's outstanding what he's done here. Outstanding. And, when we talk about the money in football and spending big, and, okay, Newcastle bought some players. But Jacob Murphy's on that pitch. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of players there. Joelinton, who was washed. Dan Burns on that pitch. Shah. Trippier's been there a long time. You know, you've got some exciting young players as well within that. Willock comes on. It's fairy tale stuff. And that is why you shouldn't be able to just spend what you want all the time. Because it will be so much sweeter today for Newcastle fans, I think, to have won it that way. To have gone, oh, we've got some good players and we've got a great manager and we've got a bit of energy about us. Off we go to the final. We think it's all going to work out. No, you get slapped in the face and you go again. You pick yourself up and you attack it in a different way. That's what life's about. That's what sport's about. And hard-earned glory, that's what it's about. And I think Liverpool fans can absolutely respect what Newcastle have achieved today with a very, very likeable team, an incredibly likeable manager. I listened to a Pod on the Time podcast this week, and they used this quote to talk about Steve Harper, who's a Newcastle goalie and local lad, and he said Newcastle is a bipolar football club, and we all are. And so to have a manager like Eddie Howe who can sort of toe the line and stay in between it, this second time round, it didn't creep into any kind of fear of, oh, well, we've not won it before, how can we win it this time? That it was a not today one. You saw it in the eyes of every single player there. Massive performances from Tonali. Go through every single player on that pitch. Absolutely superb stuff. Chiesa, of course, gets his goal. It's a great finish, and he doesn't even look up as well. Interesting one. Maybe that might be something that Liverpool look to do in terms of having Chiesa and playing him through the middle. But today's about Newcastle United. I am thrilled for them because it needs to get spread around that little bit more. Newcastle fans, congratulations. You've done it the hard way, but you have done it. You've won a major trophy for the first time in 70 years, I think it is, when it comes to domestic trophies. Absolutely incredible stuff. And you could see it. I was tearing up throughout that game, looking at the fans, because it's disbelief when you live in hope your whole footballing life, and you get what you want, and you get what you've put in a lot of. I've been living for you today. You put a lot of your life into just waiting to cash in for one night. So if you're watching this today, congratulations, enjoy yourself. And subscribe and like the video if you did. Commiserations to Liverpool fans. You will be back winning trophies very soon, I'm sure. Well, in the next couple of months with the Premier League. But what a clever way to win this game through all the right characteristics that you would want from a team. Amazing stuff.